Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're working on this Poulan Pro 48BT backpack blower. Now, it's a really good looking blower, and it looks like it's been well taken care of, and it runs okay. It doesn't run great, but it runs okay. Probably a little tuning on the carb and whatnot, maybe a new plug, and it'll be running really good. But it leaks gas. The reason he sold it to me was it leaks gas all over the place. So today we're going to replace the fuel lines in this particular blower. A little different than the normal ones. We don't use the little tool. This is pretty easy. So all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free and it's what we work for. So let's get started. So as you can see, our fuel line's going right here, and our leak, as usual, is right around the bottom of the tank. Now I went ahead and emptied out the gas in this one, because even though it doesn't leak on the bottom, it still leaks. And we're going to need to pull the fuel lines out to pull this one off. So we're going to take the case off first, or the airbox cover, and we're only taking it off to give us a little bit more room to work with. And these fuel lines and these are really easy to take off, and a little bit of a pain in the neck to put back on, but not too bad. Okay, now we'll go ahead and pull these out, just to get them out, get the airbox out of our way. This is definitely crowded in there. Let's see what we've got. I'm gonna kind of bet you a nickel that'll fit. And it will, fits fine. Let's grab our handy screw gun. And this will take the carburetor off, which isn't necessary for this job, but it will make it a little easier for us. There we go. So let's take the gasket. We're going to leave the gasket right there because it's just as good right there as anything. I'm going to put the airbox and the bolts over here where they're nice and safe. And now, we just take a screwdriver and pop this out. Now use care. Do not wedge the screwdriver into the gas tank, because you will be at a fail point. If you try to jam the screwdriver in the side here, you're going to need a new gas tank every single time. Yeah, look at that. That's where somebody fed fuel lines in, thinking that that might save them. They made a super long taper because they didn't have a fuel line tool. But we do, and we probably won't need it for this one. Those fuel lines are really stiff, which is unusual because this blower is not that old. There's half of it. There's still half of it. Well, looks like half is our number. There we go. And now we have it. So now we're going to go through our set of plugs and find one that matches this one. Now this one has an additional vent line, but that vent line won't hurt us even a little bit. So let's see how the lines reach. Let's see if it fits. And that fits nice and snug. So that's going to be our new fuel line plug. Once we get it in, we'll see how tight it fits and see if it's acceptable. Come on, buddy. Oh man, that fits nice. That's nice and tight. Perfect. So you'll note, well, we had 2 lines here. We've got 3 lines on this one. But this one is nothing more than a vent, and that vent won't hurt us any. So we like that. Now usually on these, the black line is the fuel line and the clear one is the return line. And when you prime, of course, it pulls gas through the fuel line and returns it through the return line. Should have looked before we put them in, I suppose. Yes, and that's the case. The return line's a lot longer than necessary. Well, they both are, but that's okay. We can cut them down as we need to. So now we'll take the extra fuel lines off of this. Get the old fuel lines out of the way. We'll attach our fuel line first. And a lot of times the carburetors will have the fuel line the fuel line has barbs on it. That's not every time, but it's pretty common. And that fits nice and snug. Now we're going to put the return line on. Let's rotate this around just a bit. And we do have just a little bit of slack inside the tank on these lines. And that's really all there is to it. Now we're going to leave that just like that and put her all back together. Got our bolt set. This might be the straight throughest little job we do in a little while. Here we got our gasket in place. Got our little breather hole, which allows our fuel in, or allows our, allows our fuel to pump in, I should say. There we go. Very gently. See where we are. Okay. I don't know how straight that one went in, so I'm going to pull her back out. Now that this one has aligned us. Okay, that sounds good. That one feels pretty good. Now let's put some fuel in her and shake her around a little and see if she leaks. What we're going to do is put a little bit more than normal amount of gas in it. We're going to fill it close to the top. And then run it a little bit. This thing holds a ton of gas too. This is a big old tank. Okay, she's filled up clear to the bottom of the nozzle. I think I'm going to have to put new fuel lines in my gas tank. It's a leaker. Oh, sorry about that. Let's turn her on, start her up, run her for a minute, and then splash her around. Okay, that's on, that's on. Pump, pump, pump. We were filling up the carburetor with fuel. Everything looks promising. Choke's on. She's a little bit cold-blooded. I noticed that before when I was playing with it. That little spots where I spilled gas from the tank. Okay, now we're shaking it around. Okay, after she runs for a couple of seconds, she sounds about right. So let's see if we've got any gas anyplace. When we first started out, you can see gas all over the place at the base of this gasket. And now, not a spot. So she's all taken care of. So I'm going to make it my tool for a couple of days and see if I like the way she works. So there are times when getting these little rubber gaskets to seat into the plastic tank can be really tough. But the important part is, don't wedge a screwdriver in here. You can push it flat against it and try to peel it up, but don't try to push it into the crack between this rubber bushing and the tank, or you'll just completely molest the tank. When I got this blower, I was afraid that the tank was going to be all torn up, but it turns out it wasn't. It didn't work, he didn't want it, and now it's ours. And this feels really harder than it should for its age, because it's only about 3 years old, and the fuel lines did not look good. I don't know if it came factory this way, but that's just embarrassing. Whoever did this should have at least cut it square. So For all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. You made it this far, you might as well. We'll see you next time.